This podcast, George, Ryan, what?
Yeah, hey.
Well, come on, bro. Like it's already 6:15.
Headphone up, bro.
Go sneak this podcast.
We already did that part.
Yo, y'all sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Good?
You sound great.
What mic did we turn down?
You sound great.
3 or 4?
Turn down 4. 3.
I don't know. Can you hear me? I don't even have headphones on yet.
Yeah.
Yo,
you sound great. Don't second guess yourself.
All right. Yo, Sneak This Podcast.
I hate both of you, though.
Episode 93. George, Ryan, Greg, back in the building. Hey.
Dang, I didn't even prepare a number, but I think I just thought of one. Let me go first.
Go.
I'm going to take your thunder.
Go ahead.
Sue and Dominican Sue.
Ooh, didn't think of that. What you got?
Ron Artest.
Oh, okay. I got a Dwight Freeney.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a good. That's good, fam. We got a special guest we're going to be calling. Rich Mays Lopez from the show Full Size Run. I'm sure you guys have watched it. Works at Complex. Talked to him a little bit.
Solecollector more than anything.
Doesn't Complex own Solecollector?
Yeah, but people would know him from Solecollector.
Okay, from Solecollector. We doing releases and pickups now, or should we just?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you can ask him what he picked up. That's a decent way to start the show.
Yeah.
Well, then we should have just had him on now.
No.
Yeah,
but you can do the introduction and then call him, and then like we're just talking while, hey, what's up, Rich? How's it going? Blah, blah, and that's the intro.
I mean, we should do our pickups.
Okay, George, what you got?
Nothing.
Okay, Ryan, what you got?
Reigning Champ
Sold
Ultra
everything.
Boost 3.0.
The gray one?
The gray one.
It's not bad.
From Lapstone and Hammer.
Oh, I thought you said this lobster.
I don't even know what those are, what they look like. Mystery Grays?
Oh, I think that's the store that Rack works at.
That's Rack Store.
Yes.
I thought you were saying I don't know what that is.
Mystery Grays?
No, it's like
they look kind of like the gray 3.0 a little bit, but Reigning Champ collab.
It's like a lighter gray. Reigning Champ collab.
They're clean. I mean, it's not something to. I hope you got them for retail or under, but
Didn't cop.
Nothing to jump out the window for.
I didn't cop anything.
200 shipped. Retail, free shipping.
But I'm gonna tell you this though, what I'm copping, those that come out this week, Dunks, the
unconstructed Dunks.
Yes. What? Y'all are smoking sticks, bro. They have no line. They're deconstructed.
Hold on.
And those are shattered backboard
I'm
leather.
not saying they're not fire. I'm saying you're not copying. You're misunderstanding my shaking my head.
Why wouldn't I?
You're not gonna buy it
Because you always say stuff you copying and you never cop.
I've copped every Dunk I've said I was gonna cop the new ones, and I took them back. But I copped them.
Is that what we're calling cop now? Just cop? You take it back?
Yes.
I guess my list of 2017 cops should have been longer then because I took a lot of stuff
We
back.
still copped it. What else come out this week? Flight Jordan 1s?
Yep.
Flight Net Shadows? You copping those?
Eventually.
Eventually. You didn't cop the red or the blue ones. So
I'll cop the Royals eventually. I'm waiting for that right price. I'm waiting for Wheat ones, Shadow Flynet ones, and Royal Flynet ones.
Okay.
But breads flew.
I got breads.
I thought you had Royals too.
Flew what?
Yeah, I got
Flynets?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
The bread?
They didn't
sat.
fly. They sat for a little bit.
They didn't
forever.
sit.
They're gone
They didn't
now.
go to the swoosh.
What? Yeah,
No, they sold
did.
out.
No,
they were around
They were
forever.
on the app for a while. Yeah, they were.
You probably can get them under retail right now.
It's a possibility. I think your mustache is cloud your judgment.
Told you. Mustache all
His mustache
2018.
is the biggest hit on the show.
Oh, yeah. Did you turn? You got to turn them down a little bit. No?
Which one?
The
6.
sliders, all the sliders, just turn them down just a little bit. You just knocked into the camera. No?
Oh no, George
His,
is fuzzy now.
His
Now my mustache won't be on the screen.
his mustache needs his own IG account now.
My mustache is our 4th member.
Yes, his name is Harry. What are we?
Dirty Harry.
Y'all want to call Rich now
Pause.
or anything else?
Yeah, whatever.
Anything good?
Let's go.
Wait, what is Simple buy? He didn't even say all his buys, did he?
I think that's all I bought.
27 buys?
No, last week we said I got the Kith Ultra or the Kith Ronnies.
Oh,
The LeBronies, huh? LeBronies, huh?
Voice messaging system.
Said, which button should I hit? The lime or the red? You hit that red button.
Guess we'll wait and see and give him a call.
Yeah.
Dude,
So how's everybody's weekend? How's your weekend?
I am blazing hot.
I thought you just said I thought you were just gonna stop it.
it was cold outside. First cold day in a long time.
because it rained last night.
Yeah, no shite.
All right, I'm calling out.
Turned your front yard into a mud pit.
No, not really.
You're the dustiest front yard in Phoenix, Arizona.
Bruh. In all of Phoenix?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Rich.
What up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you feeling?
Good. Not sure how long you're able to be on with us, but we appreciate you coming on, talking to us for a minute.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for having me.
So we just talk, ask questions, talk about full size run, complex things like that, and get your opinion on sneakers and all that stuff. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
We had some issues with like delay before in the past when people calling in. So if you can't hear us like immediately, let us know. We'll call you back.
All right. So, I think I can hear you all in real time. So I think I'm good at my end.
Okay.
We'll turn the mics up just a little bit just in case. Nah, not that one. The other ones. Nah, the first three sliders. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, shout out to QNell Davis. He's the one that tagged everybody on Twitter, said that we should have you on. I've always thought about hitting you up to have you on, but I don't know how busy you guys are over there. I know you guys have your own show and stuff. But shout out to him for setting that up for us. So that was kind of dope. And I appreciate you actually coming on with us. So just real quick, we have Rich Mays Lopez from the show Full Size Run from Solecollector. Is it better to say from Solecollector or from Complex? Or is it the same thing?
It's basically the same thing. I mean, the Solecollector is the brand at Complex, so it doesn't really matter what you said. It's still like basically the same thing. I'd work for Solecollector at Complex just to keep it like clear.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all good to know.
Yeah.
So if you can, real quick, I'm sure if you don't know who Rich is, from either Full Size Run or just Solecollector or anything like that or social media, I mean, you should. If you're into sneakers, you're into things like that, you should just be aware of the people who are, influencers, if you will, in the culture. But real quick, if you can, how did the whole process start from like, obviously you used to review sneakers with Kicks in the City, the Complex to Solecollector, things like that. How did that whole process start out?
So like you said, I started Kicks in the City back in 2005, I believe. It's about 2005. At the time, it was literally probably one of the first sneaker blogs ever that was just really dedicated to sneakers. At the time there was like Hype Beast and Slam X Hype and Freshness Mag, and all of those blogs touched on sneakers, but none of them were solely dedicated to sneakers. So at that time, which hasn't changed even since then, I was copping sneakers heavy. I was probably copping. This was during the like Jordan's like LF days when they were dropping like Olive 5s and like Tour Yellow 4s and shit. I mean, it was lit back then. Mm-hmm. So I was copping at least 3 pairs a week. I was copping like at least 10 pairs a month basically, because that includes like doubles. So I cop like 3 pairs of the cool Grade 3s and shit. So at the time, I was so heavy into copping, and going to all these boutiques and mom and pop spots that for the most part don't exist anymore. Rest in peace to all those spots. And just seeing like the same people over and over again, and us like engaging in conversation about sneakers and and hooping and music and all that. We all had kind of we were all like-minded and had similar interests. So I said to myself, let me create this blog to kind of cater directly to those people that were really just heavy into sneakers, and had an interest in sneakers, but also like the bigger culture around it, because I had discovered Nike Talk back in I'm trying to figure out what this was, maybe 2001, when the black red 11s came back, and Nike Talk, and I was probably on Yahoo at the fucking time, or whatever the search engine was back then. or whatever, Ask Jeeves or some shit, and it was for real though. That's anyway, and trying to because I was up in college, I was up in school, and at that time I was removed from it because I was tucked up upstate, and there was no fucking culture up there. But the kids that went back home to the city, because I'm from New York, the kids who were who I ran with that went back home to the city always came back with the fucking retros on, the infrared 6s and Bugs Bunny 8s and shit. And I was like, what? I was, like I said, I was tucked up in the middle of nowhere. So when I saw them come back with these sneakers, I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Because I didn't even know that these shits were coming back. And then all of a sudden you're on campus with these sneakers. And I'm like, this shit blew my mind because it took me back to when I first started collecting. Anyway, so I discovered Nike Talk then. But Nike Talk was fucking amazing, first of all. It started everything, but was so product focused, and it was so about when and where and how, that my whole angle when I started Kicking City was to really expose people to more of that, but also the people. So back when I started Kicking City, I was good and still am with DJ Clark Kent. So, I did videos with him. I was good with Shy McBride, so I did videos with him. I used to work for Jeff Staples, so I did videos and interviews with him. So
that's tight.
It was important for me to expose people to the culture behind it and the people behind it. Because to me, the people are more important than the products. So fast forward, I did Kicking the City from 2005 to 2000 and I want to say 14, 15. And throughout that time, I ran it myself. I wrote every blog post, thousands of them, and I published videos weekly or monthly with the KATC Stockroom, which was the first of its kind, kind of unboxing type thing.
Right.
And as often as I could with people sitting down with them and interviews. And then through that, I worked with Nike for a little while. I helped them develop their first podcast ever with Nike Basketball, where it was I interviewed LeBron and Kobe and Russell Westbrook, and then that turned into a traveling show where we did that in Foot Lockers and with in front of a studio audience, and that became a video series. So all of that led me up to the point where I got to the end of the road with Kicks in the City, because as a one-man band who had been doing all these things for damn near a decade, one, I was basically washed at that point. I just didn't really have that much energy in me. And two, I felt that I had taken the blog as far as it could go with one man and one budget. And I wanted to go somewhere that I would have more resources, a bigger team, more people to work with and collaborate with, and ideas. And basically when the Complex Solecollector opportunity came to me via people that I already knew at Complex, that was basically what I was looking for. Obviously, Complex is 100, I don't even know, maybe 500, I don't know, there's a ton of fucking people over there. Huge company with 4 stories in the middle of Times Square. Our Solecollector team is small, it's 6 strong, but it's much better than 1. And it just made sense for me to land over there with given what my goals were. I mean, I always wanted to do, a sneaker podcast like you guys have, or, like we have with Full Size Run.
Right.
The things that we're implementing now in Solecollector, I'm not saying that they're my ideas, but what I'm saying is that these are things that I always wanted to do. So now being able to have the resources and the team to put these things in place, like it made a lot of sense for me to go over there.
You brought up Staple earlier. Did you work at at Reed Space, or have you ever worked in retail, or how'd you build your relationships when you were growing up? Because you said you're copping like doubles and triples and stuff.
Yeah, I still have them shit too. So, to answer your first question, no, I never worked at Reed Space. So this is a crazy story that no one knows no one really knows about, and one day hopefully I can tell the story even further. So
Exclusive.
Jeff, I know Jeff just from topping sneakers. You know what I mean? Like, he's a sneakerhead. Jeff is real deal sneakerhead. Like,
right.
Obviously he's a worldwide design icon now, and he's done collaborations with some of the biggest brands around the world. But first of all, I knew Jeff before that, but second of all, he's a real deal sneakerhead. Like, there are people in this industry and in this culture that will tell you that they're sneakerheads and really not. There are people in this culture who don't pretend to be sneakerheads, and that's even better. But Jeff is ahead through and through. So that's how we connected. But what Jeff did was he created a basketball league called the Nike Recess Federation. And that league was built for, at that time, way back when, 2006, 2007, like influencers, and I hate using that word, but that's what it was, influencers in, like pre-influencers in New York. So it was like people whose names you probably know now were in that league then. So like
Kais Omar,
who is say it again?
Kais Omar.
Say it again?
Kais Omar.
Like who?
So Jeff Staple is responsible for the SNEAKERCON basketball games.
We can blame him for all YouTuber con and everything now, is what you're telling us.
I think what we did was on a whole nother level.
Right.
No disrespect though.
Well, I'm guessing like you're talking about like Russ was involved and people like that, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like Russ Bankston and folks like that?
Like reconsideration? No, it was no disrespect to Russ either, but it was way much higher level than I was at the time. So it was like Dao Yi Chow, who's like the founder of Public School. He was hooping in that. And
Gotcha.
then Jacoby, who is like who's on Jalen and Jacoby's show, like he was hooping there.
Okay.
And it was like, again, like me compared to a lot of these guys, especially Jeff Staple, like these guys are now making like massive moves.
Right.
But Jeff has always been and will always be ahead of his time. So we were all hooping in that league. Anyway, so I hooped in the first year, and then the second year I couldn't hoop, so I became like the league's writer. Like I wrote for the league. I did interviews with players after the games. I had like a video set up for them. So I worked with Jeff from there. And then anyway, to answer your question about retail, and this is a crazy story, but I never worked at a sexy retail spot like a boutique or even a mom and pop spot. I got my start at retail working the shoe department at Marshall's, of all places. And obviously there's nothing sexy about that. But sneaker retail, shoe retail is sneaker retail, shoe retail, no matter what. No matter where you're working, you still have to know your shit and sell shoes and sneakers. But then what I did when I started Kicks in the City, I no lie spent at least 4 to 5 days out of a 7-day week. I would say 5 days out of a 7-day week in a sneaker store, whether it was Recon at the time, or A-Life, or Reed Space, or Classic Kicks, or Clientele, or Atmos, or any spot in New York. I spent hours upon hours upon hours in these stores, chopping it up with the people who worked there, chopping it up with people who came in to cop sneakers. And although I didn't work at those spots, like I might as well should have, because I was like, you know, I was in recon for so long that at some point they were like, yo, you just start opening these boxes, you know, like put these on, you know what I'm saying, like put these on the shelf, you know what I mean? Because like it gave me access to the product, because I was able to take pictures of the product before anyone else did, because no one ever thought about going to the store to take pictures, which was crazy. But and to give them back, you know, what they were giving me, I basically worked there as well. You know what I mean? Like that's how I met Sally, who was on a full-size run show a couple episodes back. He used to work at A-Life.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him on here.
Oh yeah. I mean, Sally, if you guys can get him on, he already told him, so he's another head, really dope dude. So anyway, I'm being long-winded and all, but either way, that's how I met Jeff.
Well, it's crazy because I mean, how you describe, you know, your way to build relationships, being in those sneaker shops. It sounds like that classic barbershop feel where you just go and you just kick it.
100%.
You know, you're not 100%. Copping. You might have copped something that week, but you know, you just go there. It's just tradition to go chop it up, post up for a minute, and your face is just out there.
And 100%. And to be honest with y'all, I never, or I mean, I say never because I could have slipped my memory. I rarely asked them to hold me down or to even cop from those stores. That was not the purpose. The purpose was to build 100%, just to talk with people, get a better sense of the culture, and also help build the site and the brand. So it was like you said, 100% barbershop talk. Like when I was talking with Sally, you know, he used to hoop in Ohio at the same time that LeBron was hooping. So we talk about that. You know, Spencer Fujimoto, who used to work at Recon, who's like an OG skater. We used to talk about, you know, him coming up as a skater and shit. It was always just like love. It was always just culture. It was never about sneakers like that. Like I wasn't hanging around them to get sneakers. That's just corny.
I mean, we've had, you know, like Premium Pete on. We've had.
That's my man.
Yeah, that's my guy, dude. We've had some really good people, and they always give us that story. And that story of you talking about being in these shops, like the classic barbershop. It's funny that when you tell that story, it gives us, we're older sneakerheads as well, and it gives us that feeling of like, dang, I forget that feeling. Can that happen today? I feel like sneaker shops have like transcended above just being for the people. And if you're that guy hanging out in the sneaker shop all the time now, you're strictly looking for a hookup on like a Yeezy or something like that. I
mean, I would agree with you there, but the painful, you know, reality of that is that sneaker stores don't really even exist anymore. I mean, yes, they exist. Like in New York, you still have Kiss and you still have Atmos and, you know, A-Life, but they might as well not even exist, because today's sneaker consumer is really just focused on what they can cop online. Like they're not going to stores, right? I mean, like, no, not really. Really, I mean, like, you know what I mean? They're trying to get their Yeezys off Confirmed. Right. Or they got a Shopify bot to cop, you know, off some fucking Shopify site. And, or they're trying to cop, you know, resell, you know, on IG or Twitter. So to answer the question, no, I don't think that could ever happen. Not ever, but I don't think from what I'm seeing right now could ever happen again, because there's no central hubs for people to congregate at. Like, where are we going? Where are we going to go talk at? Like,
I think that's supposed to be.
Sit down and chop it up?
I think that's what's supposed to be. Like a SNEAKERCON is supposed to be. It's not that.
Yeah, but the thing about that, no, it's not, because the thing about it is, like, even the sneaker stores that exist nowadays and SNEAKERCON, these are all transactional relationships. These are all based on copying. You don't go to SNEAKERCON to chop it up with people. You go to SNEAKERCON to sell some shit or buy some shit.
Exactly.
You might go there and fucking shake Kai's Omar's hand or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because like I see that people like line up to do that. And there's no shop to him. This is what I'm seeing.
Right.
Or some other influencers' hand. But they're not people. I don't even know if people know how to talk to each other at this point in 2018, because they're so used to, you know, operating online. But again, like, and Yu Ming, who started SNEAKERCON, is my man through, like, you know, he actually gave me my first job with Nike, and he's of the culture too and ahead. And I'm sure that was his intent when he started SNEAKERCON, to create a physical meeting place for sneakers, but it's just become more of a mirror of the culture as it exists today, which is just transactional relationships. I want to cop or I want to sell. That's basically it.
And I think that's a good point. That's where everything's moved to. And I mean, we talk about like obviously how if you're of a certain age, camping isn't acceptable anymore. But I mean, back when we would camp out, like part of the cool thing was just sitting there and like you'd see guys that you'd saw the past 5-6 campouts or guys that you only saw when you would go to campouts, and you'd go to Nike at midnight or 5 a.m. that morning and see like a bunch of homies that you only saw on Saturday mornings from 5 a.m. to 9:30 when the doors open and go get breakfast or whatever, and you'd build those relationships that way. And even that doesn't exist anymore because, like you said, anymore you're signing up for a raffle online. You show up when the doors open. You walk in, you pay, and you walk out, and you go about your day. It's like everything today is instant gratification. Everything.
And the transaction's done. You go in, you put your money down, you leave. That's it.
Well,
we've
talked about it before where if you are, say you camped, you're waiting in line, or you won a raffle or something. Yeah. I mean, probably a raffle's a bad example, but you camped waiting in line. You can't even try it on anymore and see if you can get like, you need a half size difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talked about that on the show before. It's crazy how that is a thing now. You know what I mean? You can't even figure out what your true size is.
You can't even go into a store now and say, hey, can I just see what it looks like?
No.
There's a lot of times that I'll buy stuff off sneakers and I'm like, yo, it looks fire from the internet, Solecollector, the apps, all the blogs, the sneaker looks fire. I get it in hand and I'm like, yo, this joint is trash.
Yeah.
I got to take it back to the outlet now. And they're like, was there anything wrong with it? No, you know what? You wouldn't let me see it. It's trash. Like, you didn't let me touch it. You didn't let me see what the material is. You didn't let me feel it or try it on. So I had to just cop quick because everybody wanted to cop it. So I just had to cop. Just had to pay, cop it, got it in the mail. Like, this is garbage, and I took it back.
That's it.
I
mean, but think about that, though. But you can't even get that far because can you even go to a sneaker store and cop sneakers? Like, can you do that? Can you
really can't anymore.
And cop your sneakers?
Well, when you even talk about being in like the store and building that relationship, like we talk about all the time. Yeah. We've all been to New York a few times, and we live in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Arizona culture and New York culture is way different. When we look on the internet and we see people outside in New York weather fighting or in a line, that's foreign to us now. Nobody.
Oh, okay.
Nobody is in a line.
Well, we don't have enough stores here for camping and stuff to happen. I mean, we have Undefeated here that opened last year, I think, and a couple other boutiques, but that's about it.
So then So then I will say this, like. I feel like when we talk about Kith, we love Kith. We go inside of Kith. Kith makes you want to spend money. Okay. But I can honestly say when I go in Kith, when I go in Kith, I don't feel like I can hang out and chill. Like I don't feel like I can hang out and say, yeah, like there's nobody in there who wants to talk to me. Like if I sit in there and be like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? They'll look at me like,
the employees were angry. I've been in there twice and they look like they're being bothered when you're talking to them or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't blame them because I've never been in Kith empty. Like I've never seen a Kith store empty anytime I've ever been in it. The Nike side with the snacks now, the cereal, the regular side, it's just people on. You can't even tell who worked there because all of us are dressed the same. Like I don't know who works there. Like it's just hand over hand. They just bring out boxes and whatever, and that's fine. Like I said, we love Kith, but you can't build that relationship with anybody without because, like you said. You got Atmos, you got Kith. These stores have become almost concepts. They've become almost what's it called when you travel?
Actually, I haven't been in Concepts, but I've dealt with their customer service and they're really good. I bought some stuff from them and it shipped without one of their special releases, and it's supposed to come with something that shipped without it in the box, and they're on it immediately and ship it like the next day. So I don't know how they are in the store, but
and it's not. And I'm not talking about their customer service. I'm more talking about like, just like, hey man, what's going on? My name is Greg. They're not. They don't care. I feel like sneaker shops have become like Kith to me is like a destination. What's it called? New York. You go to visit. Not a transporter.
Tourist town?
A tourist. They become a tourist attractions now. Oh. You go to Vegas, you want to go to Urban Necessities. You want to go to New York, you got to go to Kith. Like, it's.
I mean, as you're saying though, you can't really blame them just because.
Oh, right. It's not their fault.
Like that's the energy they're getting. You know what I'm trying to say? So
right.
It's like, I mean, it's not their fault. And I also want to take it back and say, like, listen, I come from a different era, or we come from a different era. But I just want to make it clear, though, that I'm not hating at all. I'm just explaining how it was different.
Oh, no.
Every generation, every generation has their own thing, and this generation is, internet focused and doesn't really care about, like making friends, whatever. That's fine with me. I mean, I don't really care. That's fine with me. All I'm just saying is that, it was different. The way it was back then allowed me to get to the point that I'm at today. That's what the story is.
But you being just talking, kind of going back to like Full Size Run, I will say that on the show, and we don't know the dynamics of like a show like that. So, and I will say you are definitely who I would consider the most as opinionated as you can be. And I don't know.
Sure.
So I hate that you being of the culture having to even explain that you're not hating. Like, it's so asinine. It's the most asinine thing to say, like, bro, I get it. I get why it's like it is now. And it's not hating. It's just telling people how it used to be. And it's a little hard to adjust the way it is sometimes now. Like you guys said on one of the episodes, it's almost impossible to cop. Like, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's a task. Like, it's like.
And it's just not fun.
It's not fun.
No. Let's keep it 100.
Like when you get a sneaker now, like I got Cause, Black Cause. When I got that raffle, I actually felt a little different inside, and I don't even know why. Like,
biggest product dropper.
Well,
I mention Cause every episode.
Them
we know
Cause,
you got Cause.
Black Cause 4s are fire. All right, nobody could deny that.
Yeah.
But the fact that like I get an email and it says, "Congratulations, you get to give us $350." is insane. Like,
oh no, it didn't even say congratulations. You get to. It said congratulations. You just gave us it already. You just gave us $350.
Yeah, that's what it said. Congratulations, we already took your $350.
You're gonna get a shoe,
and it said it'll be shipped in 10 days. All right, it didn't even say like.
It's still a blessing.
Right, and it is. But the thing that I have to call copying a sneaker and going to work every day and give you my money a blessing is insane. Like, it's insane.
It's crazy.
All right, but going back to Full Size Run, so like. How does starting a show like, what was the decision in starting a show like that versus bringing back like Quick Strike? I remember Quick Strike used to be on Complex and things like that. How come you guys didn't go with another version of that, or
Well, that I can't speak to too much because I wasn't working at Complex at the time that Quick Strike was operational.
Oh, okay.
Also, Quick Strike is, and this is where it gets weird. Quick Strike is a Complex show, while Full Size Run is a Solecollector show. So it's two different, you're working with two different brands. Also, I just think that the content angle is a little different, whereas I think that we are a little bit more opinionated and also, I don't want to say controversial, but maybe controversial just because of the way you look at it, but a little bit more opinionated, a little bit more frank, a little bit more open to offending our political connection away. Right. Like, we're not afraid to speak our mind. I'm not saying that the guys on Quick Strike weren't, but that wasn't the goal of their show.
Right.
Their show. The angle or the idea of the show wasn't to do that, whereas the angle or the goal of Full Size Run is to do that. So they're two different shows. Quick Strike and Full Size Run can exist together because they're two completely different shows. But to answer your question, I have no clue why Quick Strike doesn't exist anymore. That was before my time, and that's a conversation for like a complex sneakers employee, which I'm not.
Okay. Does Complex get into any of that competition type stuff? Like, would they have issues with? I mean, obviously not, since your show's going on. But
no, I mean, Matt Welty, who's one of the three hosts of Full Size Run, is a Complex sneakers employee. So he crosses over to to work with us on Solecollector. Right. So there isn't a competition in that sense. Russ Bankston, obviously, who is an OG in the game and was on Quick Strike, works with us too. Like, we shoot ideas back and forth. Even Joe LaPuma, who's obviously the host of Sneaker Shopping, every time that he does an episode with a Sneaker Shopping episode, he'll reach out to us as the pool of Solecollector and Complex sneakers for I wouldn't say help, but for like any questions that we might want to ask that would help us inform our narrative either on Full Size Run or on the news post or whatever.
Oh, that's dope.
You know, like for instance, like on the Eminem one that he had, like I think I had like 2 questions in that one. It's also like stuff that like I wanted to. If I was fucking interviewing Eminem, I would ask him this shit. So Joe is, you know, opens that door for us. So it's very collaborative. You know, I'm not going to say that there's no competition because, you know, we are dealing with a bunch of like, you know, sneakerheads who are like, I think, competitive by nature. But it's also very collaborative. So there's no problem.
But I mean, like management wouldn't stop anything. That's kind of what like where I'm.
Management wouldn't stop what?
Like stop a competing show, or if there was another idea to do similar, like between you and Quick Strike, Full Size Run and Quick Strike.
Or if Complex wanted to, if Complex wanted to start up a show that was similar to yours, like there wouldn't be any kind of like, hey, we're going to pull the plug on this because we're going to move it to Complex.
You know what? I couldn't. That's a great question because I couldn't even like fathom that. Right. I mean, I don't know why they would, but I guess it could. Shit, I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want, but I don't see that. I mean, I don't see that happening just because, like, why would you? But shit, I mean, anything can happen.
Or like if Solecollector wanted, you guys could hire Joe Budden.
You're crazy. You know we don't have a bag like that.
You know, I mean, it's like when you talk about competition. I mean, you know, our show is. I mean, the basis of our show since episode 1. This is episode 93. Is this? We're regular. We're regular 3 sneakerheads. We're literally consumers. We just got off work and we come do this every single week. Now we literally say whatever we feel like. Like it's not even a question. We have more enemies than I can even imagine. Like I'm supposed to get the fade. I'm supposed to get a fade, you know, a few times. So and these are facts. Like these are.
But imagine giving someone a fade over sneakers, though.
That's the thing. Anyway. That's the thing that like I hate. Like I get it. So we talk about like music and stuff like that every once in a while, just with friends. I understand when you can critique something like music, but when people get upset when you critique a sneaker, I find it to be so crazy because it's an inanimate object. It's just a thing, and if you say them joints are whack, it's almost blasphemous. Like it's almost like incredibly insane, and I don't understand. I mean, SNEAKERCON, they hate us. Everybody hates us. So, and we're fine with it because I will not come here with my friends and not be able to say what I want. There are times I watch Full Size Run, and I wonder if there's a little bit more that you have to say, that you want to say, that you sometimes hold back on.
You know what? I think that there might be. I won't say that there isn't, but you know, and that's not. And I'm not saying that just because like I don't. I don't know if you guys. You know, I don't know if you guys see this, but it's basically what you were saying too. It's like, you know, people for some reason in sneakers tend to take things very personally.
Very personally.
And I don't understand why, because again, like it's just sneakers. And if I tell you a sneaker is whack, I'm not saying that you are whack as a person for liking it. I am saying that I am personally offended by the sneaker. I don't give a shit if you are. That really makes no sense. That really makes it's really makes no difference to me because you are not like buying it for me, and I'm not buying it for you. I'm saying that I don't like it. But the point is like, am I holding anything back? I'm not saying that I'm not, but I will say that I try not to. You know what I mean? Or maybe I tread the finest of lines where I'm able to speak my mind and offend, 10 people instead of 10,000. But, I try my best to be as real as possible because I don't really know any other way. If I do censor myself, it's not intentional. You know what I mean? It's maybe I don't get to that point, but it's definitely not intentional.
And it is.
I do think though that there are, because of the nature of the show and because of what we produce, there are things that we can't talk about because we just don't get to it. Like we don't have the time, or it doesn't fit in with that show's theme or whatever, what have you. Obviously, if you go to Solecollector.com, we post 7 times a day, 7 days a week. That's 49 article or 49, 7 days, 7, whatever the fucking math is. And we could literally talk for fucking hours, but you got to pick and choose. So there might be some things in the cutting room floor that we don't talk about that I would like to speak my mind on, but we just don't have the time to get to it.
And the fact that, like, we have to mention opinion and offending in the same sentence when it comes to sneakers is crazy because, I mean, it's like amongst the three of us, like, we all have we like most of the same stuff. But for instance, this past week, I bought the Ronnie Feig lifestyle stained glass LeBrons. Long Live the Kings.
Straps.
And I love them.
Those suck.
But Greg and George hate them. And Greg told me yesterday to sell them and that I would thank him later for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
But I love the shit.
Yeah, but I don't understand how you can like something it looks like a Soldier LeBron, and you don't own a Soldier LeBron. Like, it doesn't. I don't understand.
I seen the dustiest Soldier LeBrons at the gym yesterday.
Soldier LeBrons are trash. Period. When you have a sneaker that's built for a man that's like 6'7", 285 pounds, and we're all...
I think they're built for Ohio State's offensive line.
Yeah,
though.
they're like...
even bigger.
And I know you're not going to wear those. That's why I say I don't like them. Now,
They're built for actual soldiers. That's why they're called soldiers.
Now, you buying the entire Gatorade pack, I just don't understand it. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, the Gatorade 1-pack is utter nonsense to me. Like, it's just... I don't understand the point of it. You just have the money just to do whatever you feel like.
I told you. I'm going to wear one purple one, and I'm going to wear one orange one. I'm going to wear a Steve Nash jersey. I'm going to go to the Suns game.
No, you're not. You're not doing that. So, talking, it's funny.
Wait, I was going to ask, because he was talking earlier about, at least I heard you talk about, before you got into the show, did you know Welty and Brendan before the show? Like, you guys are buddies, hang out kind of thing?
So Welty, I actually, in the between when I left Kicks in the City and came on to Solecollector Complex full time, I wrote for Complex Sneakers, and Welty was kind of like, I was freelancing, and Welty was kind of like, I guess, the editor there at the time. So I would send in my stories like to him, so I knew him from there. And then Brendan used to work at Sneaker News, and Sneaker News was started by Yu Ming, who also started SNEAKERCON.
Cats, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like it's like a small world.
How long is Brendan keeping his mustache?
And Gerald, man,
hey, yo, he got to
committed to that look.
He got to cut that joint.
Well,
hey, mustaches are in.
Well, Ryan on our show has a mustache similar. So,
no, it's worse.
Well, we're a sneaker podcast. We're on YouTube and we're on iTunes and all that stuff too. And like we're just competitive as well. And we like to feel like we're competing against every other podcast and show out there. It's just the nature of it. But
my mustache is better.
But Ryan's mustache is better than Brendan's. So
just so he knows.
You know what?
I mean,
we might have to discuss that.
No, it's better.
I mean, he looks like a character from Tombstone, though. Simple.
Well, we're in the Wild West. I have to have a bigger mustache.
He
with
looks
a curl.
like Wild Bill Hickok.
I mean, if y'all mustaches collided, pause.
I'll tell you this joint though. Brendan came back in 2018 with the brolic joint. I don't know what happened. Like that shit grew like exponentially over the break. So when Full Size Run comes back in 2018, we haven't done any new episodes yet. But when we come back in 2018, you're gonna have to take that challenge up again.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about this. So you tweeted today, and I don't know if this was a past episode that like I didn't.
Tweet?
It's the tweet that you said this was one of your favorite episodes, or is a good episode with Money Kicks.
Oh yeah, the look on your face. Yeah. By the way.
Okay. Why is that? Okay, I don't know how to really ask this.
Yeah, because I thought. Okay, all right, go ahead.
How do you? Okay. Well, first of all, why is that one of your? Why is that one of your favorite episodes? Like
I'm gonna be real with you. You guys gotta watch it because you know what? It was absolutely mind blowing. This like opened up a part of the culture that I have never been exposed to, that I didn't know existed.
Okay, not sneaker culture, right?
Say it again?
Are you talking to open up a part of sneaker culture?
Sure. I mean, hold on, let me put something. So I come from extremely humble beginnings, right? I don't, it took me a while to get my first pair of like actual sneakers. I was rocking a fucking, Fava or whatever Payless specials for years until my family could afford a pair of J's. But this kid, was born into billions of dollars, man.
Billions.
And the things that he is talking about and has access to are things that I can't fathom ever having access to because of the amount of money that he was lucky enough to be born into. So when you say like the culture, the thing about it is like there are a lot of very wealthy and not rich, fucking wealthy kids around the world that are into sneakers on whatever level you want to say, or like you could be culturally on whatever level you want to talk about it, that are just living a lifestyle that I cannot even dream of. So the reason why it was one of my favorite episodes was because, one, the shit that he is talking on that episode is outlandish. The kid's lifestyle is outlandish. Two,
you talking about he's just talking about his like daily life and stuff like that.
Yes,
Okay,
his daily life. Exactly. Not the sneaker shit. His daily life is outlandish. The people he talks to, the amount of money he has, the resources he has, the things that he does is just out of control. So just hearing like about his life is out of control. And second, like I said, it exposed me to a level of person and a level of young sneakerhead that I would have never, ever come in contact with. Like if you go on YouTube now, which I'm sure you guys do, and check out all these videos that these vlogs that these kids are doing, these kids are fucking rich, man.
Loaded.
Oh, we've seen them all.
Loaded. I sent them one yesterday. One of them did a vlog and it was called My Richest Friend. This kid rolls up in a, what did I tell you it was? Like a limited edition Ferrari or Lambo or something. Anyways, It was like he got it for his 18th birthday. Like a $500,000 supercar, and it's this kid's 18th birthday present. Like I couldn't even imagine what that is like. Like I was so stoked to buy a Cadillac CTS Coupe V6. Like I was ecstatic when I got that, and I could not imagine getting a $500,000 Lamborghini gifted to me.
Okay.
Well, in that clip, though, hold up. But in the clip that you guys saw that I tweeted,
right?
Brendan is talking about how he doesn't understand like the whole wrapping these cars thing. He wraps them like in a Supreme one and an Easy one.
That's trash.
Yeah.
And well, listen, you gotta watch the show. But anyway,
okay.
So,
Let's see. Okay.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. So the idea, what he goes on to explain is that he was, and this is in the clip, he was in his jacuzzi in one of his houses in France, in Paris.
Oh,
and
God.
Surrounded by hookers.
Just decided that he wanted to wrap one of his dad's cars in a Supreme wrap, called a 3D printer, and basically got it done the next day. That's what's in that clip. Could you imagine that lifestyle?
No.
Okay,
blew my fucking mind.
I get that. That's just like, okay, I get the allure of looking at someone's lifestyle like that. But when I hear your story about humble beginnings and hanging out at the shops and doing all this stuff in order to get to where you were, I'm not going to lie to you. It low-key irritates me that this is somebody who is idolized by many for sneakers. When you're that rich, you can buy anything you want in the world. So to me, it's not you're not really a part of the culture. You're just rich. It's almost like Stally. You said Stally came on and Stally said that a lot of these rappers aren't real sneakerheads, but I bet they have all the sneakers. To me, I don't look at him as a real sneakerhead. I look at he can just do whatever he feels like. Now, taking the sneakers away from his lifestyle and just talking about just being rich, it's the most amazing thing ever. Like, it's amazing that somebody could be that rich. Separating that from that.
So that's what I'm trying to say. There's two parts to that interview. The first part is just his life and how ridiculous it is. But to your point, I asked him, basically that question. And his answer, which again, you guys should watch. I'm not going to give it away. Hopefully this podcast, people will be enticed to watch it. He answers that question. I asked him something pretty similar, and he answers the question. Because I'm going to, I'm not going to say that I necessarily agree with you, but I understand what you're saying, and I understand that that is or should be a prevailing thought. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not real, you just got money. I understand that completely. I understand your vantage point, and there was no way that I was gonna let him slide off the show without asking him that. So I asked him, what do you say to people who feel that way? And he has an answer.
I think our show, we talked about this a lot of times too, is, and people will take this the wrong way because they have a million times. We're not hating on the child himself. You know what I mean? He couldn't do anything different to be
rich.
There's nothing he could do about it. He was born where he was born. He's born to the family he was born in. Our issue has always been people going to these shows, and by people I don't mean other kids. I mean grown men, adults, and idolizing
what shows
these children, like SNEAKERCON and stuff like that. So I guess that's my biggest problem is grown men, or even I guess by grown men we'll say what, 18 and over, 19 and over, something like that, 17 and over.
When we were at SNEAKERCON, I saw men that were in their 30s with no children waiting in line to meet Kais.
Yeah, I mean that's part of when Greg says the culture. I think more he's talking about that than like, because we can't listen. We can't blame the kid for being rich and wanting to sneakers because it's all over social media. It's all over everywhere. He wants to be cool. I mean, that's really what it is. Now, the wrapping the cars thing is not cool at all.
No, I mean, wrapping cars that look like, okay, when you turn a $500,000 car into a $225 sneaker to look like it, you're just rich and bored, all right? When you say I want to turn...
I think that's basically exactly what it is.
Boredom is probably the best example. Okay. Boredom is the best description of his life. He has a zoo in his backyard. I mean,
right. Okay. Well then, and I get it. Like I get it. I'm not gonna explain. I'm not a hater. All right. I'm not gonna explain.
No,
this,
we're haters, but we don't. But this is not an issue we're a hater on.
He makes Richie Rich look like Oliver Twist.
All right. Richie Rich was fiction. Okay.
But again, he's not. And the kid, I'm gonna be real with you. The kid is very woke. I mean, he understands. He understands that he was lucky enough to be rich. He's not out here trying to like necessarily flaunt his riches. He understands that he has haters. He understands the point of view that you're saying. But he literally said that in the I guess the extended version of the clip. He was like, I was bored. He basically said that. And when you're bored and have a ton of fucking money, I think he says this too, like you do dumb shit, basically is what he said.
Yeah, well, shit, where you can't spend it all. I mean, you know, generations and generations, depending on what your investments are, you can't spend it all.
But I also want to say, you guys really have to watch the interview because he also says a lot of things about that, the kid is like entrepreneurial minded. He's trying to start all these things. He mentions not wanting to rely on, anyone for money and to make sure that he has his own money for his generation. So the kid's very level headed. And listen, like I said, he blew my mind on several aspects of throughout of the interview. And I think
Greg's getting a Donald Trump flashback right now.
I don't like if Rich Mays Lopez said I want to start a business, you might be a little nervous. Okay, you might be very nervous to take out this type of money and do it. When you're him and you want to make your own money, like when you have literally money that you can throw in, it's not a risk. He's not taking any risk, and I get it. And he's a young man. At the same time, though, how many kids would just be happy enough to live off mommy and daddy's purse and keep it moving? Right, and I get it.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't know. I 100% get it. I'm sure YouTube and all of them pays him well as well. Like he does all right for himself.
2 million subs or something.
I mean, he's all right for himself. So, but obviously,
the other thing, like I said, like we were saying, like you go on YouTube and there's a bunch of really filthy rich kids, flossing all their gear and sneakers and stuff. And whether we like it or not, or whether we're considered hating or not, that is a massive part of today's culture.
Oh, it is.
Well,
I mean,
and this isn't limited to just money kicks, like you said. Like there are a dozen like kids who come from multi-millionaire households who are driving Range Rovers at 16 to Supreme to show their $5,000 Supreme pickups today. Like,
yeah, but I mean that's the funniest thing is like what you said earlier. What Greg said earlier about wrapping a car with a $220 sneaker is the best example of what they're doing. I'm not trying to say that people that grew up like we did, where we're like hustling for shoes or whatever, are poor, but we're not well off. So it's weird that they're trying to assimilate to like the poor culture almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's just
That's funny.
And I mean, God bless him. I don't know. I watched a video of his today, and he said he finally bought his dream car.
kids are trying really hard to look like they're like immersed in the culture.
Okay,
Let's
who bought their
put it
dream
that
car?
way.
Now, right, he did.
Money kicks?
And
Yeah,
the culture
was he
didn't
16?
start out. This culture ain't for rich folks. I mean, it's not from rich folks.
But in the same time, we also talk about. So it's like
Michael Jordan was rich.
we also
and
talk
that's
about. We also talk about. The middle class or even lower class kids who are out here doing anything and everything to buy Supreme and all this stuff to look like somebody that they're not. Like they go out here and do whatever they can to get a Supreme jacket to look like somebody who literally
someone they see on social media.
So
or whatever.
it's a weird dynamic now, and obviously anybody of the age of 20.
I don't. You know what? Listen, I don't know if that's weird. It means okay. Let me say it like this. I don't know if that's weird because I'm gonna like root this in, old. Well, I mean, it's not old because I'm sure it obviously still exists. But I'm gonna root this in, I guess, in my childhood or the childhood of many kids, especially across New York, in the 80s and 90s. And you've probably heard this from a lot of people. Especially those like of us who grew up the super humble beginnings, and depending where we grew up, we looked up to,
Michael
for better or
Jordan.
worse, we looked up to like the drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? Like they had money, they had the J's, they had cars. Like we wanted to be like as fly as those dudes. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like,
Right.
These kids nowadays that you're saying are hustling to try to get like a piece of Supreme, they're looking up to whomever their like quote unquote drug dealer is, whoever their influencer is who has Supreme and who's rocking Yeezys and who has the means to cop those things. Just like the drug dealers had the means to cop J's and drive flashy whips back then. It's like, okay, well, I want to be like that guy. He's cool. He's got the money. Well, these kids nowadays want to be like whoever is cool and has the money in their frame of reference. And it's usually, some influencer in IG or a money kick. Thankfully, he's not selling drugs. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not hustling, but
he doesn't need
he's
to.
providing kids.
Actually, they might be. You never know.
No, they get away with it.
They're selling that. I would imagine they're selling that oil. So that oil could be a drug.
So,
That's
anyways,
good money.
so to get to sneakers now, we'll talk some sneakers right now. There's a question I wanted to ask you, and I feel like you guys discussed it on an episode, but I can't remember. Do you feel or think that Ultra Boosts are played out? Or run its course?
No. That sneaker, okay.
Maybe just Adidas.
The sneaker is played out, but it has not run its course. And the reason why I say that is because the Ultra Boost to me is a timeless silhouette in the vein of an Air Max 1 or an Air Max 90 or any sneaker that has maintained its legacy for 20 years. In 20 years, the Ultra Boost will still be a relevant and hot sneaker. If they put it on the shelf and retroed it in 20 years, or 10 years, that shit would still smash because it's that good of a sneaker. But currently, it is played out because they overdid it. Currently, but to me, it's a timeless sneaker.
Well, it's funny.
So it's run its course currently.
Well, it's funny that you even give the example of the Air Max because I think one of the things that I looked at the Ultra Boost as a disappointment as it got to like 3.0 was the fact that I thought Ultra Boost, we've already talked about it a million times up here, Adidas finally has its Air. Boost is Adidas' Air. So when you come up with something as iconic as the Ultra Boost, wouldn't the Ultra Boost be your Air Max? Because you said the Air Max 1 and the Air Max 90. The shoe hasn't changed dramatically.
Nope.
Except for like pattern on the material.
Like it's supposed to be Ultra Boost 1.0 looks like this. Ultra Boost 2.0 supposed to look like Now we left the Air Max 1, Air Max 90, 95s, 97s, 98s. Like, it's supposed to look different.
I think the issue is Adidas makes a lot of Boost sneakers and no one cares about any of the other ones. I mean, besides NMD, obviously. Like, they don't care about the next Boost runner. You know what I mean? So
well, the thing about it is, if I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the show that we did with Wex, I straight up asked him that direct question, like, are you guys afraid of the fact that you guys are doing the same thing over and over and over again? And I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. The Ultra Boost to me, will always be an iconic sneaker. It will always be one of the most comfortable sneakers I ever put in my feet.
Ever.
But I feel like they really slammed that thing into the ground. And I asked Wex, and he basically said, and I didn't agree with his point then, and I still don't agree with it, that he was like, okay, well, what sneakers are you wearing? And I was wearing the Air Jordan 1 at the time, and he was trying to make the point that, like, well, Jordan is doing it by dropping a billion colorways of the same sneaker. But I think you're comparing apples and oranges when you're comparing the Air Jordan 1 to the Ultra Boost. That's where his argument to me fell apart.
Yeah.
The Air Jordan 1 is from 1985. The Ultra Boost is from 2015, 2014. And you guys have probably released the same amount of colorways of the Air Jordan 1 in Ultra Boost in fucking 4 years.
I mean, that doesn't, because that comparison doesn't make sense. If I had to really think about the Adidas brand and I had to pick out what I thought the Air Jordan 1 of Adidas would be, it'd probably be a shell toe or like a Stan Smith.
Yeah, it'd be a superstar, 100%.
Yeah, it
100%.
wouldn't even be that. So, so speaking from that,
the argument doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and I said that, shout out to Wex, cool dude, so man, but the argument didn't make sense. But to get back to your point, I think that Adidas, overdid that sneaker hard body, and it's a shame because it is a beautiful sneaker. It is an iconic sneaker,
right?
And I think, to your point, they could have made it a 1.0, which was the first one, and then the 2.0 be, like you said, their next step up,
right,
instead of just changing the pattern on top.
Well, they can't even get the 4D approved or whatever the issues with the 4D is.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah,
but
they could have done more with that anyway, with the Ultra Boost platform, instead of just like, messing with the pattern.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a way to change the upper. You can keep the knit pattern or whatever the same, but change the shape of the upper. Or like they did something nice when they made the mid. I'm not a fan of that trail one they did, but they definitely could have done something better than what they ended up doing.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that, and it's a shame that the Ultra Boost is. I mean, at the same time, they're still pushing a fucking ton of units to Ultra Boost. Let's not play ourselves.
Right.
But I think they could have preserved. Let's say this. I think they could have preserved that sneaker better. That's what I'll say.
Definitely.
But they did the same thing with the ZX Flux. I thought the ZX Flux was a smash, and then they killed that. They killed that shit pretty fast.
Oh, I remember when those like the Prism or whatever that first colorway that came out was.
Yeah.
Those were fire.
Oh, fires are strong.
I still have mine DX. Like, I didn't even get to rock them because they played them out so fast.
Oh yeah.
So
I was gonna say they flew, but flew is not fire to me.
Yeah, them joints were not fired. Like, there's a lot of Adidas like tubular stuff. It's not.
And you were on that wave heavy.
I was on a tubular wave heavy though until they almost killed me. Like when I was driving, and I got the gas pedal stuck in between the bottom of a tubular. I almost died.
Wow.
Like, I had to take the shoe off while driving and hit the brakes. These are facts. My wife was in the car, kids, everything. So I might have to call up my lawyer. See what he's doing. But when we talk about just sneakers in general and going back, I think we've almost reached a certain level of where we're relying so heavily on collaborations that anything else is just, I almost said uncivilized, but anything else is just
Civilized.
anything else
the Vapor Max. I mean, there's something new that came out that
you're right. But you see how Vapor
But
Max,
I'm saying, think about it. Like, when was the last time? The only thing you can point to is the Ultra Boost and the NMD recently that's similar to Vapor Max, where you don't have to go to a collab to have something hot.
Yeah, but we're talking like
the Zoom Fly also.
Yeah, that's true. Which I want to try a pair of those on.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have ever tried them on.
And this is the thing when it comes.
I think it's fire.
When I'm talking about collaborations, I'm not even talking about like your concepts, your kit, things like that. I mean, you have like Jordan Brand now collaborate, like doing Gatorade. Like your GRs are almost collaborations with stuff. Like just them putting out a Jordan 1 pack isn't enough. It has to be now sponsored by or influenced by colors of liquid. Like it's not even
fire.
And in order to get that attraction and that energy from us, the consumer, gimmicks and things like that, they're just coming way too fast. Like I only feel like I'm gonna move for concept, New Balance stuff, Kith stuff, like. And I think us OGs, if you want to call us OGs, I hate that as well. We've earned the right to like.
Unless you're talking about actual gangs, the term OG is dumb, but we have been around
You know
from
what
the
I'm
very
saying.
beginning. No, I'm saying, like, I agree with you. I'm saying, unless you're talking about actual gang members, and we grew up in that
Right.
culture too, because we're from LA, but unless you're talking about that, the term OG itself is dumb, but we have been around from the beginning of Jordan's career.
Right.
Like,
You've been around since the beginning of Babe Ruth's career.
right.
So it's, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I feel like, if you're not a certain age, like I hate seeing the younger generation only care like, their top pickups of the year were, Jordan, Off-White, Off-White Presto, Cos 4. Their top pickups were everything that everybody
Power lacing
could
mags.
get. Yeah, like their thing is everything that everybody can get.
That was literally your list last year.
So when I feel like us as an older consumer, I've earned the right to only care about a Cos 4 and stuff like that because I have owned every single 4 almost multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, and your tweet when you said you're gonna cop 5 pairs of 3s and retire or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, we've all been there and done that. How many times have you owned cement 3s? Like seriously,
3.
like,
3.
and that's enough. Like, and I'm sure you still have them.
Oh yeah.
You still have them.
2 of them I haven't got yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you have DS pairs of something and you're still gonna cop more, it's kind of crazy. Like,
That's just I've been doing that for so long though. That's just like what I mean. Like, listen, the Black Cement 3 to me is like top 5 sneaker all time.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
that's debatable.
And
No, it's not.
Debatable.
That's not debatable.
That's not debatable. That's not debatable.
Anyway,
That's
it's
debatable.
top 5 sneaker all time in my personal opinion.
It's a top 3
And,
Jordan of all time.
My point is that if I only had that one sneaker for the rest of my life, I would be good. Like, so I will cop 5, so I have pairs for the rest of my life. And that's really why I do it.
Monday through Friday.
So I have 2 questions for you related to Jordan Brand then. Number 1,
Yeah.
well, first of all, have you seen, I guess 3 questions. Have you seen the Black Cements in person yet?
No.
Okay. So number 2, do you think that this Black Cement 3 will be as disappointing as the True Blue 3 from last year? And do you think that there's a chance that they sit, or do they fly?
Define disappointing in this.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like whack materials, them sitting everywhere, nobody really caring except for people like us. I mean, like, do you just see it being like a disappointing release and something that is going to be readily available that we could wait and pick it up at outlets like you could with the True Blue?
So what my counterpoint to that is, and I've said this several times on Full Size Run, I don't think that being able to cop sneakers is disappointing.
I mean more of like from a quality standpoint, like the True Blue 3 supposedly being a remastered shoe. My pair from 2011 is hands down 10 times better than the remastered version that cost me $50 more last year.
And you know what's crazy? I have that Nike Air pair, the one you talked about, and like I think 2 or 3 pairs of the 2011, or not the 2011, the one right before that, like the Euro exclusive one that they dropped, like whatever it was.
Oh yeah, 2010, I think.
10.
2010, sure. I went and got those from overseas, but I never, I've never looked at the Nike Air pair that I have because I'm still working my way through the old pairs. So
Yeah.
This is news to me that the materials were even wax. I don't think I've ever opened the box of my pair yet. So this is news to me.
Yeah,
So you're schooling me right now.
Yeah, it feels like Kmart plastic shoes. Like they're
Nike
terrible.
make me go look.
I don't even know if I've never been one to care about. I mean, I just recently started really, really caring about quality. Like, it's something. It was like a never-ending battle of like yelling at Jordan and Nike about quality.
The only reason we care is because more versions of the same thing come out.
Right.
If it was only one version, well, that too. If it was only one version of the same thing forever, you would never talk about quality.
I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Like, the standard now is, does it have shattered backboard leather?
Yeah, that's your thing.
Like, it's kind of like, you know what? I'm a quality person now, as of like, I'm gonna probably say within the year, only because I've noticed the difference of stuff I've bought. We buy so much things, like you said, you haven't even looked at it before. We buy a lot of stuff that like we either don't look at, or we take it back, or we sell it, or we lose it. Like, it just, I feel like when people talk about, like when Ryan asked about the quality of these threes that are coming out, I don't even know if it matters if it sucks or not. Like, it
doesn't matter at all.
Oh, it doesn't matter for me. I'm buying them either way. I don't hate threes. I just look awful in threes, and I'm still gonna buy them. Like, and I've owned every single threes except mochas and DBs. So it's kind of like, it's a repetitive circle of we can complain, we can cop. Like, I don't know.
I mean, as far as, just to answer your question, get back to your question, as far as it being disappointing, it doesn't matter to me because, like I said, I'm copying minimum 3 pairs. If I get a chance to cop 5, I'm copping 5.
Yeah.
So that shit doesn't matter to me.
Well, get a chance for like you, like, I would imagine, now this is consumer looking at Complex and Solecollector, and like you guys are on another platform than us. So we look at you guys like, oh, they probably get anything they want. Does a Rich Mays get anything he wants?
That's not true at all.
Okay.
No, that's not true at all for a number of reasons. One, I don't want to say I don't ever, but I rarely ask for anyone to hold me down from a retail standpoint. Rarely. I might ask out of a calendar year and 300 pairs of sneakers or 200 pairs of sneakers that I'm copying in that calendar year, I might ask someone to hold me down maybe 3 or 4 times, if that. I don't like like I said, I spend a lot of time at retail. Like I said, when I was coming up building those relationships, I know what type of pressure that puts on people. I don't have a bot. I go about it.
That sounds so funny.
I would hope you wouldn't need one.
Well,
there have been a couple guys who've left Complex and go to work for Jordan Brand and Adidas and whatnot. And I would imagine they're very helpful to you guys there.
No.
Really?
My man. Shout out to my man Marco, who is
him and I think Gerald too, right?
Gerald works at Solecollector.
No, I'm saying
Gerald is the.
Oh, okay, but didn't 2 people recently leave Complex and go work for either Jordan Brand or Adidas? I know Marco's one of them, but
Marco left. My man Marco left to go work at Jordan Brand, and my man John Marcello left to go work at Adidas.
That one. Okay.
You can call up Marco right now. I can call him up. I don't ask Marco for shit. Like, that's my man. He works at Jordan Brand. If he wants to give me something, I am extremely appreciative for the hold down. But and Marco's been there for maybe a year, and he has access to a lot of things. I've never asked him directly for anything. Period.
Well, if Marco sends you an extra pair of Levi's, let me know.
But I'm saying he doesn't just give it to you without you asking. I guess my question is more like they don't just slide you a pair.
Well, how well are you guys seeing?
I mean, what's funny? Like when following you on Twitter and things like that, and then even like the last drop on sneakers of Off-White, seeing people that we feel are quote unquote either celebrities or insiders, seeing them complain about taking an L on Sneakers app, it was like,
dude.
Like
I've taken more L's on Sneakers app than fucking like a lot of people combined, dude.
Than Topanga?
I take L's in the Sneakers app. I take L's in the Sneakers app on the fucking weekly. So
but doesn't that?
And then I look at myself like I probably could have asked someone to hold me down for these sneakers and not gone through this fucking shit, but I still don't do it. I just go through. Listen, man.
I don't blame you because I wouldn't do it either.
Else.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask anybody either, but
I would expect if my boy left to work with Jordan Brand that he just would offer.
See, and it's not even expected.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say is like definitely Marco. Again, shout out to him.
No, I know you're not trying to badmouth him. I'm just saying, like, I would expect it. Like, if Greg went to work for Jordan Brand, I'd be like, bruh.
Oh no, I forget about all you guys. If I went to Jordan Brand, you guys are dead to me.
But what you have, but you know, if we're calling spade a spade and keeping 100 either, keeping 100 too, like yes, like you said, whatever, we're on a different platform, we work for Complex, we're highly visible or whatever, but there are a lot of people who are a lot more visible and a lot more important than us, and that's fine with me. I know where I know where I stand. I know I'm not getting, what XYZ 2-3 million followers on IG is getting, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy with what I get. Like I don't have that type of social following, and if that's their priority as a brand, not just Jordan Brand, but any sneaker brand, to reach that type of audience, I can't provide that for them. So that doesn't make me mad. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm a regular person no matter what, through and through. I don't care what fucking platform I'm on. I'm doing the same thing as y'all and trying to cop shit on Sneakers app, trying to tap in like a fucking moron on Confirmed.
Well, we don't even have Confirmed here, so.
Yeah, we didn't have Confirmed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure out which fucking of these tiles has a fucking car in it.
You gotta. The mafia will tell you, man. You gotta follow Yeezy Mafia.
Yeah, exactly.
We try confirming stuff just to keep our skills sharp. Like we just try stuff. Like we try to get stuff. I try to get stuff anywhere in the world just to be physically prepared. Like it's like training.
We go through those same exercises half hour before the drop on Kith, and you're adding, seeing how quick you can get stuff through the cart.
I mean,
all of that.
It's
I respect that. And that's the thing. Like again, and a lot of people too, they'll come at me in my mentions, like in Twitter, like, "Yo, why are you fronting for like you're taking L's?" Like, dude, first of all, is it fly to like front that you're taking L's? To me, that shit is whack. I hate losing.
Yes.
So I'm not out here trying to be. I'm not trying to be cool by saying I'm a fucking loser. I mean, I took an L. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I think it would have been a lot cooler if I told you I caught a dub than I caught an L.
There are times there are times where like I'll try on sneakers, just be like, I don't want it, but I'm gonna give it a shot. If I lose, I'm heated. It ruins my entire day.
What was it that we didn't want like 2 weeks ago that we tried for, and then we were just mad because we didn't get it? What the hell was it? We all tried, and we didn't. It wasn't even something we wanted.
Maybe the Gatorade sixes. That was the last.
No,
one.
we did.
It was.
So
I wasn't up on time.
I woke up. I tried for the Gatorade sixes. I didn't even really want them. I was gonna give them to Greg if I got them, and when I didn't get them, then I had to have them. So I got out of my bed, got into my car, drove to Undefeated, and bought Greg and I both a pair because I was like. I didn't even, when I woke up that morning, I didn't even want them. If I got them on Sneakers app, I probably would have taken them back.
And see, I wanted them. And I thought like, you know what? I hate when I see so many people online, and I don't even know why I feel like that's the masses. We're talking about the entire world having access to a sneaker app, and I see 25 people say they suck, and I think, these are going to be easy. I don't know why I put that in my mind. And then I try, and I take an L on it. Like, even when like Ryan and George, they try to get Adidas, they try to get Yeezys off Adidas all the time. I seem to get them every single time.
Don't bother.
I get them every single time. The only one I haven't got was the yellow one. I've gotten every single one, and I can't understand how come they can't get them. Like, and I mean, there's times we sit on there for what, 3, 4, 5, 6
10,
hours?
12, 13, 14 hours?
Tell Wex to unban my IP or whatever the hell I need to be able to get. I can't even, bruh, no joke. The last 5 350s that released, I've seen the product, actually just seen the product page once.
He couldn't even get power phases.
Oh, I've never gotten past the splash page in the past 4 or 5 releases.
Yeah, me either.
The last one that I got was the creams. That was the last one that I actually got through on.
I get them and I debate like, why did I get these? What do I do with these? Like, I got the blue tints and I think these suck.
The last splash I got past was
Calabasas.
Shit. Well, it was I caught those from Yeezy Supply, so there was no splash. I think was the probably the fucking zebra. Probably the zebra.
Oh, okay.
That was a minute ago.
That was a while ago. So I have one more question related to Jordan Brand. Since we talked about Adidas starting to play themselves out, Jordan Brand is past playing themselves out. So we talked about this last week with Rack. 2
weeks ago.
2 weeks ago with Rack from Lapstone and Hammer, and from the buyer standpoint of Jordan Brand becoming more limited in 2018, do you think that that's going to make a difference, and that's going to be what Jordan Brand needs in order to bring themselves back into. I mean, I guess they haven't really succumbed to Adidas, but to bring them back into the conversation and back into the cool.
Yeah, I guess this is not even a cop-out answer, but the answer to me is yes and no. And I actually tweeted this a couple of weeks ago when someone posted this on Twitter, and I don't know the exact words of my tweet, but the sentiment was nobody cares if something is limited if nobody cares about the product, right? Like, I could say that this is the most limited thing in the world, but if it sucks, unless you're a super hype beast, which is fine, you don't really care. If it's limited and hot, now we're talking. That's not to say that Jordan Brand is making whack products. My point is that it better be good. You know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna make it limited, that's cool, but it also better be good. Which I think they're doing. They're actually doing. Like the Art Basel ones, which was fire to me, and they were limited, and I couldn't get a pair, but that was fire.
I didn't care for the blue, teal, or whatever, but the pink one definitely flames.
Yeah, the things were fire. So what I'm saying is, like, it will help 100% because it will help drive hype, but only if the product is good at the same time.
Well, the only shoe I care about is the Black Cement 4 because I just sold my 11.5. That was too small, and I need a 12. So all that other shit coming out. And actually, if any low OG ones come out, we've been talking about black toe low OG ones coming out, so I kind of need those too. But other than that,
and Cool Ray 11
I don't
lows.
see, like the Art Basel pack.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm not saying it sucked, but
you've been saying you like the rust pink ones. What are you talking about?
I like it, but I don't look at it as like a like I don't understand the allure.
We're not flying to Miami to camp on the streets.
Thank you. We won't even get out the bed to go down the street.
All right,
so we're not going to Miami.
Don't make it seem like we would have been doing much. Any of you liked it anyways.
No, I'd see it's hard to like, and especially doing a podcast and doing shows and like we've had everything. Like I can honestly say we've had so much that we've gotten out of the point of just copying just to cop. Like it's at one point to where you feel like you're known for copying sneakers, you have to cop. So there are even certain things that I look at with a jaded mind. I'm like, Art Basel, them joints are fire, but I'm like, do I really want them? Like, is it, even I had the opportunity to get them, if they weren't as limited as they were, I wouldn't even move for them. Like, they're only dope.
Yeah, from my standpoint, if they were like GR or whatever, I still would have copped them. Like,
I would have.
See, I would have bought the pink ones.
No, you wouldn't have.
I would have bought the pink ones.
No, you're lying. If they were GR, what you would have said?
He just bought the Gatorade pack. Yeah, what are you talking about?
He would have waited for swoosh.
They wouldn't have gone to swoosh though.
Oh man, please. If those were GRs, they would have went to. They're not that fire. Okay, all right, let's put it out there.
Hold on,
all right.
relax. So let's say Royal one pair numbers from this year. Those didn't go to swoosh.
Okay, Royal ones were made out of like recycled nonsense. Right? They weren't even good quality.
Yeah, but how do you know the pink ones are?
I don't know. Well, either way, if it's not shattered backboard leather, it doesn't even matter.
Since you stopped eating candy, you've been angry.
This resolution of not eating candy anymore has done something to me. Like I feel different inside.
What's Rich Mays' 2018 resolution?
Yeah, you got a resolution?
My personal resolution?
Yeah.
I mean, I have many resolutions, but but to be honest with you, like a lot of them have nothing to do with sneakers. Like I'm a family man, I have a wife, I have a child, so more of them were like centered around that. But in saying that, my resolution was definitely, and this year I feel like I'm able to do it, but only because I went so fucking hard last year, is copping less sneakers, 100%. Like I think I've said that every fucking year, but I think this year, I went really, really hard last year, and copped. I mean, I guess like you guys were saying, like just try to cop everything because like shit, like tomorrow's not promised today type thing. Like I'm not gonna be able to cop next week's sneaker, so maybe I'll try this week's sneaker. And maybe my success rate was 25%, but that's still a lot of fucking sneakers.
Don't you kind of
when you talk about?
Don't you kind of attribute all your copying last year when you kind of attribute it to having the show like Full Size Run? I feel like when we started this podcast, I just wanted to cop everything because I felt like it's my thing, like to cop everything. We got a podcast.
Sure. Not really because I was copying. I was copying heavier before I got into sneaker media, like before Kicks in the City even. But I think I do think that there's something to be said about being so like inundated with this shit when you work in it every day, that it's like, shit, I got to cop this now. I mean, I've seen it a fucking 1,000 times. I got to cop it, but I wouldn't directly attribute to the podcast, but I would say that the podcast definitely helped me cop sneakers, not in the sense that it helped me get them, but helped me expose myself to them a bazillion times.
So what was a sneaker?
But anyway, like I said, I went super hard last year. So this year I'm trying to save more money for the family and buy less sneakers for sure.
What was a sneaker that you bought the most amount of pairs of last year? You said you like to triple and quadruple up. So what was the one sneaker that you bought the most pairs of last year?
I didn't go too hard in terms of past doubles last year. But I bought doubles of many things. Like I bought doubles of the gold top threes.
Nice.
I bought doubles of the blue tint Yeezys that just dropped. I bought doubles of the zebras. I think the zebras last year. I could be before. I don't remember.
I think they re-released they restocked last year. I think.
Okay, so I caught the restock twice. But that's not to say that I didn't try to cop doubles of a lot of other things. It's just like those.
So you doubled on the gold top three. So does that mean that come Complex Con, you're one of those guys that gets to walk around before everybody else gets in there and buy whatever you want?
I wish.
You can't even do that.
You can't even do that.
Come on, Rich.
No.
All right.
We couldn't do that because if you were an employee, trust me, I tried. Not me. I had people try for me. But if you were an employee, they took you off the line. You had to have a special VIP badge, which we did not have.
What?
And we couldn't wait on the line.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Well, wait, hold on.
Okay,
Let's go back one. We're still going to stay on this topic, but let's go back one step. Why, number one, why would Undefeated or whoever brand there not be ready to offer the known Complex staff or Solecollector staff pairs ahead of time, number one? And then number two, how did you not get a VIP badge?
So the first one, I don't know. I guess I have the same question you're going to have to ask the retailers, though. The second question is the VIP pass was like something that you could only purchase as a consumer, and you had to pay more for. And people at Complex who the Complex staff who was responsible for throwing Complex Con, which I wasn't, really stuck to that. I managed to listen. Did it piss me off? Yeah, it did. Because, obviously I bust my ass for that brand and shit, man. If I want to get a pair of sneakers early, man, I mean, it's only right. But I respect the fuck out of the fact that they were like, yo, these people paid good money for this opportunity. Like, you're going to have to
see, those are things that have always thrown me for a loop. Like, employees at Nike and Foot Locker and places like that not being able to cop something that was there. You being a part of the Complex family, I would imagine at least in that aspect, you can have the opportunity to pay with your own money and get specific things ahead of time before the crowds get in there. I always never understood why, like,
did not happen, unfortunately.
And I've never understood why, like, let's say at a Nike would get 85. We're talking about Arizona numbers. New York numbers are way different. Our Nike would get about 30 pairs of something.
30, 40.
We'll get 30, 40 pairs of something. And I never understood how come, like, Nike as a brand never called the Nike store in Scottsdale, Arizona and said, hey, how many employees do you have who want a pair?
That should be nice.
Okay, that's how it should be. If I work for Nike, Nike should say, hey, how many pairs of employees want to buy a pair with their money? What size do they wear? So we could send a specific 15 pairs for those 15 employees that they can buy. There's no reason why. Now, I'm not mad at Complex or anybody because, you guys don't do anything for me. But I feel like anybody who's in that Complex family should have the opportunity to do so. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, and especially considering how crazy it sounded like the entire event was. Like, we're planning on going to the next one, and as wild as it was at this one, I'll tell
you right now, buy a VIP pass.
Yeah, but I heard that people with the VIP pass didn't
because
do it.
I want to get some things.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. We got you. We got you, Rich.
Yeah. We'll hold you down.
We'll hold you down. You let me know what you need. Well, going back to, you saying you bought the gold top threes, you bought 2 pairs.
Yes.
We talk about exclusivity on this show all the time. And I hate I hate, like, I loved, to me, the essence of sneakers growing up was having something that everybody didn't have. I'm sorry, it just was for me. When I came mobbing through the playground or college or anywhere and I had them J's on and everybody wanted them and didn't have them, that was fire. Doesn't it bother you that, like, eventually they'll probably release again this year or something like that?
Well, I mean, I think the pair that's releasing is different, but
right, yeah.
I 100% agree with you in the fact that a huge part of sneaker culture is competitive and it's being exclusive.
Right.
But I've come to terms with over time, and this is something I said earlier in the show, that I can't be mad at other people having the opportunity to cop sneakers, especially in 2017 and 2018, just because it's so difficult, no matter what. So if you get the chance, doesn't mean that it'll actually happen. But I can't be mad at other people having the chance because, again, copying sneakers in 2017 is fucking impossible.
Yeah, that makes sense, because when I still see people online say my first pair of Yeezys and they're the blue tints, and I'm like, man, you were just now able to copy.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I look at that aspect. It's just me personally, like me, Ryan, George. There's certain things that like we look for. Like I'll talk New Balance Kennedys. I'm talking. I searched for Kennedys forever, and I wasn't gonna pay $500 for a Beat pair, and I wasn't gonna pay $1,000 for a DS pair. So obviously, when they finally retroed, we had to, if you want to call it retroed, we wanted to cop them again, but it lost something. Like it lost the allure of the original Kennedy. It was like, well, I got him now.
Well, and here's the thing is like, and we had Dion on Full Size Run like a couple months ago. Dion from Concepts.
Yeah, he's coming on.
And here's the thing, and this goes back to a point that you guys made earlier. You've made this point several times throughout the show. You made the direct point about people only people only wanting collaborations, and then you made the other point about Jordan making it limited by design to drum a pipe. So, listen, the idea of any business is to make money. Period. Like that's the whole reason why you get into a for-profit business.
Yeah, any business
is to make money. Right. So, if as a retailer, I know the only way that I'm going to sell from a retailer or a brand, if I know that the only way that I'm going to sell a sneaker is to do a collaboration and to make it limited, what the fuck you can do? What are you gonna do? You gotta make money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I try to look at things from both ways. From the sneakerhead perspective, sure, we're mad. Like you guys tainted the exclusivity of it. It's not as special anymore. Right. Listen, from a retail standpoint, it's like, dude, are you paying my fucking rent?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, are you putting food on my child's table? No, you're not. So fuck your exclusivity. I need my money. I try to look at it from both perspectives. You know what I mean? So I understand from a sneakerhead perspective, and I agree with you, man. It's just not special anymore. But I understand from a business perspective, like I gotta make this bread. So I try not to hate on that too much either.
I understand that. I mean,
I still love my Kennedys.
I mean, of course I love them. Like, I love them. It's just that, sometimes you just don't understand. Yeah, you didn't know that? You didn't know that? Well, George just showed me a picture of the Black Cement 3s. They're 200.
I didn't know they were 200.
And it's blowing his mind.
The
Is that a 2018 thing?
No, that's what I'm saying. The ones last year, the True Blues
they were
200.
190.
They were 200.
Oh, the last one I bought was 190.
No, they were 220.
Oh yeah, the True Blues are 220, and so were the 5s. So were the metallic 5s. They were both 220. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
True Blues were 220?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, they were 220.
Yeah, they were 220.
Well, why are these 200?
They learned their lesson.
I'm surprised they didn't make them 280. You guys have seen that? How do you feel about I guess kind of going back. One of the tweets that you had tweeted out too is where you talked about, and I just quoted where you said it's a lot of people that want to talk to you about the culture but don't participate in it.
Talk at you about the culture.
Yeah, talk at you about the culture.
Yeah.
Is that more of something that like you've dealt with, or is that more in general of just dealing with people online and social media and things like that?
No, that's definitely more of something that I see online. Like social media or on YouTube. YouTube is like social media to me. and it's like a lot of people that, I guess like are trying to, and this is not like and this is why I respect Money Kicks too, because like, yes, he has a lot of money, but he has bought a lot of sneakers, right? There's a lot of people who have become sneakerheads after they've gotten free sneakers. That is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't participate in the culture in terms of putting money into the system.
Right.
I don't participate in the culture in creating any dialogue. I don't participate in the culture in creating good and compelling content. But I might get seeded some sneakers, so I'm going to talk at you about the culture instead of speaking with you. And that is kind of like a beef that I have. It's like, if you're not doing any of the things that I just listed, you are not participating in the culture, period. You don't have to participate in the culture in a way that, like, we were talking about like earlier, like, talking to people, that's fine. But you better put some money into the system. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do something to support the culture. And if you're not doing that, like, if you're not even copying sneakers, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, right. So that kind of fucks, fucks my head, because, like, I'm out here copying hard body, spending thousands of dollars in sneakers a year, and busting my ass to create content, and trying to create dialogue, and coming on a podcast like this to speak and create more dialogue. Like, that's how you participate in the culture. If you're not doing any of those things, don't talk at me or with me about anything.
And that's what we've dealt with, since starting the show. Like I said, we speak our minds and stuff like that. We've gotten, and I'm sure you get it all the time, I've gotten it before, we get accused of, you're not adding anything to the culture, you're not doing anything to the culture. And, I had to let them know, we're not at a complex, we're not at anywhere. We pay to do this podcast. Like, yeah. We put in money yearly to provide a free show of free content for anybody who's at work and bored out of their mind. Like, and driving in their car, driving in their trucks, their occupations, free content for sneakerheads to listen to that we pay out of our pockets. And, when you...
That to me means that you're actively participating in culture. If you're creating a platform, if you're creating content, if you're creating something, that means, and you guys are copying. Those are two things that you guys are doing.
Exactly.
To actively participate in culture.
We're trying to cop. We're trying to cop.
Actively, yeah, of course, aren't we all? Actively participating in the culture is what I'm talking about. If you're not actively participating in culture, if you are like, passively participating in culture and just like getting free product or fronting, for social, then I don't want you to talk to me about culture, because you're not actively participating in it.
I like that.
I like it.
Oh, Greg wants me to ask. He's shaking his head right now. No, actually, quick question. I was going to ask earlier, we were talking about something when you were talking about getting seated. So the pairs that get seated for Solecollector, what ends up happening with those? You guys just keep them all stacked up in Complex office, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I bring what I can home. The rest of the excuse me, is stacked up in the office. We just moved offices, so it was a fucking headache and a half to move all those sneakers. Of the staff at Complex Solecollector, this is not being salty, I probably, I say this to save my next point, I probably get the least amount of stuff, which is fine with me. But like Russ gets like, dude, like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Russ is fucking.
I've seen it. The box thrown.
Russ's flow is stupidity. So he has, and shout out to him, he's been in the game long enough to get whatever he needs, but he has stacked upon stacked.
He still complains on Twitter about not being able to cop Supreme and shit on sneakers and whatnot. So yeah. That's pretty funny.
I can't cop Supreme like I used to either. So, I was pretty fucking successful last year.
I'll tell you what, the funniest thing about having you on the show, and me and Greg talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think, before he had talked to you about coming on the show, is I'm not a big Supreme fan whatsoever, but I told him the only thing that I might ever own was that black hat that you wear almost every single day to work or whatever. Like, every time I see you on a video, you got that same hat on. I think that and maybe a backpack is like only thing I would ever buy from Supreme.
But those are like the staple pieces.
Right.
Listen, there's a science to copying Supreme, and a lot of people got it fucked up. And I'm not gonna even give people the science to copying Supreme. You can continue fucking it up. That's fine with me.
Well, DM me with the secrets of copying Supreme.
No. What I'm trying to say is like, no. What I'm trying to say is not like the secret to the keys to copying, but there's a way to cop Supreme the right way. You know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're dipped in head to toe Supreme, which I did at CompassCon, ironically, but if you're in like dipped in head to toe Supreme and you're copying everything every week, you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
I think it's one thing to be head to toe in a brand, and another thing to pull your 75 Louis Vuitton Supreme pieces out and do them in Instagram, which some people are doing. Like those are two completely different things.
Right. So again, what I'm trying to say is like, I say this to say that if you don't have a black box logo camp hat from Supreme, but you have like all these other pieces, you are copying Supreme wrong, because how could you not have that piece?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's a staple piece. It's like having a polo shirt. You know what I'm trying to say? With an actual Ralph Lauren polo shirt. Like if you can't have the Snow Beach shit if you don't have a fucking polo shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
you know what I mean? Like you got to start somewhere.
So you would, I don't like to say like a fan of Supreme. See, it's hard. We live in Arizona. You know, New York is New York. Like, and I'm going to ask you about New York as well. But it's kind of like when I see a lot of stuff Supreme-wise, I understand it, and I look at it as like, God, Supreme really looks at these cats, like these consumers, as idiots. Like, I'm sorry, when I see like a Scarface leather jacket, I'm like,
That's what the brand was built for. The original counterculture brand.
And I know that, but at some point, when does the consumer say, nah, like, no, I don't need a Scarface shirt? And let's be honest, Supreme quality. I mean, stop. Let's just stop it. Okay.
Well, yeah, but they're also not charging like
right. The price
even John Elliott prices.
T-shirts are $32. Hoodies are like $140, $130.
No, the prices are excellent. But if it's impossible to buy, it really doesn't matter. Like you almost have to look at Supreme stuff and think like, okay, this hoodie is $180, $120. I'm gonna probably pay about $275 for it. Like I look at Supreme app and think if there's anything I like. Yeah, I look at anything on Supreme app that like I try to cop, and I say, okay, what am I willing to pay for this? If I see a backpack and I say, okay, well, it's $150, might be willing to pay $225 for it. Like I'm going, it's not even an option to cop it, even though it's affordable. It's just, it's. I mean, I don't know. I think I get a little salty at when I try, and I don't get it, and it's like, what am I fighting against? Who am I fighting to get this? Like.
I'm too old. I don't even remember releases these days. Unless Simple's texting me 15 times when I'm wasted and he get these LeBron gifts for me. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's even hard to even remember a lot of this stuff nowadays. It's so much. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you want to ask.
The only other things was going forward goals. Are you planning on being at Complex with Solecollector for a long time, or what's your?
Yes, he's going to tell you here when he's leaving in 2 weeks.
I'm not asking him for his ideas. We got our own ideas. I'm just saying, like, you trying to make a bigger show, or what's the future of Rich Mays?
My whole thing from when I started Kicks in the City to everything I did at Kicks in the City, to the stuff I did with Nike, to the stuff I'm doing now with Complex and Solecollector, is just to attempt to, and I'd be the first to admit that I fall short of it. It just shit happens, especially because I feel like I'm a perfectionist. But just to try to create the best content possible. That's always my goal, no matter what. To creatively express myself through content. Now I do it in sneakers because that's like my comfort space. That's where I've existed for a very long time.
Right.
But that's just going to be my goal now until forever, until I don't have any energy to do it anymore. And then who knows? So my goal is to just create the best content possible. And when I say possible, that takes into account like any constraints that might be in the process, whether it's financial or resources or time or whatever. But it's just to make the best content possible when, considering all variables. And that's just my goal forever, whether I'm at Complex or not, whether I, obviously I don't know what the future holds, but whether I go to somewhere else or I stay at Complex, which would be fine too. It's just to make the best content possible. That's my goal, no matter where I'm at in life, no matter who I'm working for. When I was working for myself and, putting all the money that I made, which wasn't much, right back into the business, it was still all about making the best content possible, period.
I think that's kind of where we're at. I mean, our goal is to just every single week. And, obviously we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
And talking to us. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that you could be doing, but, giving us this chance. A lot of the stuff that you talked about, a lot of our listeners and people out there, they've never heard of that and never even thought about things that we've discussed today. And honestly, one of the things that I thought was one of the coolest things in the conversation was the whole aspect of like how the sneaker store used to be like the classic barbershop. They're just hanging out and chilling.
Yeah.
And that's how you build those relationships. I always just, we've come to a point to where the goal is to just be faster than the next consumer. Grab it, cop it, we like it, we don't, we sell it, StockX, GOAT, eBay, get rid of it, cop it. Like, it's just a giant circle. So being able for you to come on here and talk to us and create content, we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, but one last question that I have. You definitely represent New York all the time. Is New York still considered fly? Like, are New Yorkers still considered
what?
fly?
I'm sorry?
Are New Yorkers still considered fly? Like clothes and sneakers and things like that?
As a New Yorker, of course, I'm going to tell you yes. There's not another flyer dude on the planet than I am. Of course. But if I'm being honest, the answer to that is no. But the reason why that is because because of the way the internet works and because the world is literally in your palms, there is no New York anymore, right? Like it's all one big place. When New York was at the top of fashion and at the top of music, you weren't exposed to anything else. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we were the trendsetters because you literally weren't, well, first of all, because we were fly, but also you weren't exposed to anything else. And New York has influenced still a lot of culture that you're seeing today. The jaded New Yorker in me wants to say that all these people are biting New Yorker style, but the thing about it is, like, we've set so many trends and opened up so many doors that it's become a worldwide thing. So you can't be like, oh, New York is still the flyest. New York still makes the best hip hop music. New York still creates the best, ball players, basketball players. Right. We don't really do any of that anymore, period. And the basketball players one is probably the saddest one to me.
That's been a long time, though. There's not a lot of big time hoopers coming out of NYC anymore.
Yeah, exactly, which is really sad to me because I grew up hooping in New York. That's how I got into sneakers in the first place. But anyway, so yeah, we don't really do much of that anymore, and that's because the world is a lot smaller now, and we are able to, as a population, be exposed to a lot of talented and creative people from around the world. That, though, I will want to say that New York influence. Listen, getting back to the Supreme conversation, first of all, Supreme is a New York thing, period. I don't give a fuck where Supreme is now. They're in Tokyo, they're in LA, they're in Japan, several different places in Japan. Supreme is on Lafayette Street in New York, in Soho. That is where Supreme is. So if we're going back to the conversation about Supreme and how Supreme is everywhere on IG and so influential in the space, and how are they able to sell Scarface things, that is New York shit, period. So if you are rocking a Supreme thing, you need to know that is from New York, period. The reason why that Scarface jacket exists is because that Scarface jacket was a jacket that existed in the early 2000s that Supreme just flipped, which is what Supreme does. That jacket was a heavy, heavy drug dealer leather jacket in the late 90s, 2000s, which they, flipped for their own brand. So if you're rocking that jacket, that is a fucking drug dealer's jacket from New York. So you need to know that.
I guess we know where Greg's next fade's coming from.
Yeah, okay.
So are we still the flyest? And are we? No, absolutely not. But we're still highly, highly influential.
Still relevant.
Well, I think it's a good way to end the show on that. We appreciate you coming on, like always.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The show will be up. We'll have the show up by midnight tonight. I'm pretty good at getting it up quick.
Pause.
Find yourself in Phoenix, we'll buy you a beer or whatever your vice is.
Yeah, you ever find your way around here, But anyways, we appreciate you coming on. Like I said, we watch the show. We're fans of Complex and Solecollector and everything like that. I mean, if anybody wants to say they don't have Solecollector saved in their bookmarks, they're a liar. All right, if you like sneakers. So
I hope so.
Yeah, so we appreciate you, and hopefully we could talk again down the road.
Absolutely.
My man.
Awesome.
Thank you all. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Peace.